The Heat let a 20-point lead slip away, but some strong performances late in the game helped push them past a scorching hot Suns team for a big-time win at home. And Wes, I can't say Bam Adebayo definitely listens to the show, but after we were critical of him in the last episode, he did score 29 points tonight.
Hello, Mr. Editor.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Join the cookie gang and become an everydayer. That means subscribing, tuning in every day, Monday through Friday, and signing up for the Everydayer Club with the link in the show notes. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm Wes Goldberg, host of Locked On NBA Daily and Real Jam Radio. I'm here with David Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. Got a ton to get to today, including some in the oven. Some smells pretty good, David. Credit cookies here in a second. We'll get to our listener questions in a little bit as well. We are recording this on Tuesday night after the Heat's win over the Suns. A huge win for the Heat, no doubt about it. They had lost 3 straight games coming into this one, David. But more importantly, I think it was a big night for Bam. It was his best game in a month and a half. He finished with 29 points, 13 in the fourth quarter after the Suns erased a 20-point lead. A ton to get to in this game, David, but overall the win is important. But Bam playing like that, to me, that's even more important if this means we can expect more of this stuff, or at least closer to this kind of thing going forward.
It was an amazing performance. He started off early on hitting a couple of threes, and you could tell that he was in a little bit of a different rhythm. He scored some points early in the first quarter, and it looked it looked different than it had in the past. He was definitely much more comfortable letting the shot fly. He was much more decisive in attacking the basket when he did. And it just seemed like he was a little bit more engaged than he had been in previous games. And then his performance in the fourth quarter. I think when fans are looking to Bam and hoping that he can be more productive, especially in key moments to help a team win, this is the kind of performance that defines that. For him to have, I think it was 10 straight points in the fourth where he was just incredibly dominant, letting it fly. One possession there when they didn't go to Bam, and I think Tyler Herro chose to shoot the ball instead. You should have gone to Bam. I'm yelling at the TV saying, why did you go to Bam? Because he was feeling it. And in fact, in the next possession, Bam hits another three-pointer to help round up the score. So he was phenomenal tonight. He definitely was the catalyst in helping Miami secure the victory. It was a phenomenal performance from him. And this is exactly what fans have been clamoring for all season long, where we have not seen this kind of decisive performance from him.
It was a two-way masterpiece. He was amazing defensively, doing everything. He played 3 different schemes defensively tonight. 3 different schemes, maybe 4 if you want to include some of the stuff that he was doing in the zone. Defensively, he was all over the place doing everything. And then offensively, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. We don't have to do the whole, the Bam, you have to be nuanced and really understand the game kind of stuff with him tonight. 29 points on 11-15 shooting, 4 of 6 from three-point range, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. He was great. This guy was great. And you're exactly right, David. This is what it is, right? When we have these conversations about Bam struggling and the contract and all this stuff, he doesn't need to have 13 points in every fourth quarter. But when you need him to, he better, right? He needs to step up. And in this game, he definitely did. His fourth quarter, man, he has a steal and a dunk on an inbound to cut the deficit to 1 with 6.5 minutes to go in this game. This is after the Heat were up by 20 and then let that 20-point lead slip away in a disastrous third quarter. Bam comes out and says, I'm not going to let us lose. He holds onto the rope, all the cliches. Steal, dunk on the inbound to cut the deficit to 1 with 6.5 to go. Then he hits what I thought was a 3. Turned out to be a 2 because his foot was on the line. In spirit, it was a 3. Gets a defensive rebound, then hits a three-pointer, a real three-pointer. Heat back within 1 with 2 minutes to go. He helps force a travel on Mark Williams, who I don't know if he insulted Bam's mother, but Bam very much enjoyed going at Mark Williams in this game and help force a travel on Mark Williams. Heat get the ball back. Bam hits another 3 to take the lead, 116-114 with 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. It was just big bucket after big bucket. He was feeling himself. He said he was in the zone after the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's star stuff from Bam tonight.
There's not much else you can say about it. It really was an incredible performance, and I like the fact that he pointed out his two-way impact because obviously we tend to see that almost every night, but he was complementing it with incredible shooting, and I think that was really what separated him today was the 3-point shooting, 4 of 6. I mean, those are look, he's not going to hit that every game as much as you might want him to, but it's such a difference, especially when he's feeling a little bit more confident. And you could really just tell, like he was a lot more confident letting those shots fly than he has in the past, and he was much more decisive. And you know what? This is exactly what you want to see from your star or your team's best player, and I think that's pretty clearly what he has been for some time now. Whether you can argue that if you want to, but at least tonight he definitely showed he was the team's best player.
To me, what I really liked about this game it wasn't just about the threes. The threes were the loudest part about the game because he hit the big ones late. But I made this point, I think, on yesterday's show about, when the three goes in, he's suddenly good on offense. And when it doesn't go in, he's no good on offense. And to me, that's too much of a make or miss variance. To me, I would go process of results. Do I like the shots that he's getting or do I not? Generally, when a lot of his shots are coming from 3-point range, I don't like the offense, whether they're going in or they're not going in. He was, whatever it was, 5 of 20, 5 of 25 coming into this game from 3-point range over the last 10 games or whatever it was. That wasn't the case. He hit the threes tonight. He was 4 of 6 on threes. He was also 7 of 9 on twos. And that to me is a more important number than the 3-pointers in this game because he was getting to his spots. First 2 Bam buckets of the game, he goes at Mark Williams. Again, somebody insulted him. Goes at Mark Williams, gets into that little spin right hook shot. And there's different versions of this with Bam. Sometimes we see it a little bit too far away from the basket where he really doesn't have enough touch to hit that consistently. This one was a foot outside the restricted area. That's fine. That's right where Bam should be taking that shot. Got Mark Williams on the move, got it off clean, hits it there. And then on the second Bam bucket of this game, second possession and Bam bucket of this game, scored on a catch and shoot 3 off of a Tyler Herro drive. And I love that. That was Miami. That was the Heat offense, right? You got one guy crashing the paint, collapsing the defense, and then kicking out to an open player, whether it's Bam or Simone Fontecchio. I don't care. Like, if you're open, shoot it. Bam shot it, no hesitation, and it goes in. Those are the 2 first buckets for Bam, and it was like that for him for most of this night. And look, they did incorporate a few more ball screens, I thought, especially in the first half, that were really effective. Bam and some pick and roll stuff, I thought that helped him get into some rhythm too.
Yeah, no, I was going to point that out because as much as I think he was definitely feeling it tonight, you could tell that there was more confidence in his shooting in particular. But it would seem like it was a pretty concerted effort from Erik Spoelstra and the rest of the team to try and get Bam those easier looks. We've talked about how out of place he's looked this year's offense, and it's been a little uncomfortable for him to find those shots regularly. But today they go to the more staple offensive pick and roll that helps him get to his position a little bit more easily. But you know what? It was a good mix of things because even when they weren't necessarily running pick and roll, if he was just a trailer or if he was just above the break on the 3 there, like he was letting it fly. And so kudos to him for hitting those shots. But the balanced diet there was really essential to having those 29 points. And they needed every one of those, especially late in the fourth quarter when he was his most dominant.
Yeah, I mean, look, for those watching on YouTube, I'll throw up Bam's shot chart. I mean, that's perfect, right? I mean, he's got 3 shots from the corners. He's got a couple above the break. He's got 1 free throw line jumper, which is fine. I think when I think Bam struggles, he almost leans too much into the free throw line jumper, which is his sweet spot, but at the end of the day is a long mid-range shot, so you don't want to throw a bunch of those in there. But look at all those shots at the basket. I mean, that's it. That's it. That's your ball game right there. I mean, more than the threes, all that other stuff. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see from Bam. I thought they did a really nice job incorporating more pick and roll, and I do think there's a balance that needs to be struck here of adding a few more ball screens to an offense that rejected ball screens for most of the beginning of the season because your best players, not just Bam, but Tyler Herro, Kel'el, these guys get going in the pick and roll. You don't want to do too much of it. In the third quarter, I think they probably got a little bit too bogged into some slow down pick and rolls. But when you're already in a half court set, right, when that transition up tempo stuff isn't available to you, when you're already playing in the half court, then run some pick and roll. And we saw that with Bam, not just pick and roll. We saw some dribble handoff stuff. We saw Bam in the short roll making plays for others. I thought it was a good just example of how this offense needs to play against the Phoenix Suns defense, which, by the way, is also top 5. That's a good Phoenix Suns team that provides a lot of friction for opponents. And I thought Miami executed at a really high level for 3 out of the 4 quarters. That third quarter was a disaster, but credit to the Heat for responding and bouncing back. Some quick stats before we move on. It's Bam's first 20-point game in nearly a month. It's his best game, I think, overall since December 1st. It's the most points he has scored in a game since he scored 31 points on October 30th.
That's sad.
That's the beginning of the year. It's sad. It speaks to the kind of the struggles that Bam has been having this season. Like I said, we don't know if this is more of the case going forward, but to me, it wasn't just the 3-ball going in. There was mixing in different looks and Bam getting to his spots in a lot of different ways, and I think that was good. David, something's in the oven. We're going to talk about it next.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Because every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during happy hour always brings something new, whether it's boosts or bonuses, maybe even a few surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off, and you can make a move right before the window closes. The timing is perfect, right before the games and right before the weekend starts. It adds just a little extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Today's episode is also brought to you by Wayfair. The new year is here, and it's a perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels, and that's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. A friend of mine had decorated the house for the holidays, and it's different when you have everything all set up in November, December. You've got your tree up, you got your decorations around the house, and then all of a sudden you take the stuff down. The house just looks a little different. So I said, you know what? One of our sponsors happens to be Wayfair. Why don't you check out what they have? And in fact, that's exactly what they did. They picked up a couple things, redecorated the house, got some storage bins to put all those Christmas decorations away, turned the house into something completely different. And that's exactly what Wayfair can offer you, whether it's bedding or accent pillows, whatever you're looking for to change a room or the whole house, you'll find it very easily with Wayfair. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now and shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen of the day. Thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Heat with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or for $50 a year. Go to lockedonheat.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more.
Cookie guy, stack them high like a cookie chain.
David, it's another Miami Heat win, which means it's time for the tastiest segment of Locked On Heat. It's time to hand out credit cookies. As always, we have 10 cookies to hand out. I imagine you want to start with Bam. We talked about Bam in the first segment. David, how many cookies is he getting?
I don't think you can say enough about his performance tonight, but I think if you had to sum it up with a credit cookie worthy performance, I'd say it's 5 credit cookie worth. I think he was phenomenal. I think he did a really good job. Some other players stepped up as well. So maybe you could give Bam 1 more, but I really think 5 is the good spot for him, because after the performance he did, to do everything he did on both sides of the ball, the way he kind of changed his offense up, hitting that outside shot, getting to the rim, as we pointed out, phenomenal work from him. 5 credit cookies it is.
I loved also him being able to set more screens in the flow of the offense. It really taps into what he does at really high. Bam's been one of the best screen setters in the league for years. When you take that away from him, it just takes away one of his best traits, one of his best features. You take that away and he can't get to that stuff anymore. Adding more of that in the flow of the offense is good. 5 credit cookies, David, to me was the minimum. I had on my kind of scratch pad here 4 players getting credit cookies. Is that where you ended up?
I did not. I have one on the outs. He's only going to get a shout out. But
Okay, so you've
I
got
did
3
have
players
4
getting credit
top players.
cookies.
3 players, yeah.
Okay,
Because
all right, so
I had
where
to
we
give
going
5
next?
to Adebayo. So I had to give 5 to Adebayo clearly.
Yep.
And my next total is Norman Powell, who gets 3. Like his performance is going to get lost a little bit tonight, but I thought he was really good. Had some nice defensive possessions. Really good active game for him. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. 27 total points. Like just shy of Bam's total. And we're just gotten so used to it from Norm, but the shots were great. They were at timely moments, especially late in the game. He had a big 3-pointer in the corner as Dylan Brooks was sort of defending him. And it was a great shot because it really helped Miami pull away and reestablish a lead that they had previously lost. And so I think it was a phenomenal performance from Norm. He gets 3 credit cookies on the night, going 10 of 18 for 27 points.
Yeah, Bam hit the big threes in the fourth quarter. Powell was just maybe not as big, but very important. Off ball, hitting back-to-back buckets for 5 straight points in the final 2 minutes, both coming off the ball, right? So it just proves Norm Powell in a new starting in that new starting lineup, right, with Tyler Herro and Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell should be noted, left the game with a shoulder injury. Doctors were kind of looking at him. Team doctors were. And we're going to get an update probably tomorrow on Davion after he didn't return to the game. But Powell's great. Powell was great, and he showed why, even with this new lineup, he's the guy that kind of makes it work, right? He doesn't have to be on the ball. He doesn't have to be on the off the ball. He could do both, and he kind of does them both at an equally high level. So he was great. All right, I'm really interested to see who you got on the outs here. It feels like you probably could have spared a credit cookie, but who's next?
I've got the last 2 credit cookies going to Jaime Jaquez Jr. His 16 points. He was a plus 10 on the night, 7 of 16 from the floor. Missed all of his 3-point shots. But what really stood to me is you talked about Bam running pick and roll and getting those easier looks. And guess what? Jaime Jaquez was one of the main playmakers to help Bam get going with his 8 assists. Shout out to Davion Mitchell also for his 6 assists in just 19 minutes of play. And Tyler Herro gets a shout out. But the last 2 credit cookies, in my opinion, have to go to Jaime Jaquez.
So I love this game from Jaime. 8 assists is all I care about. The 16 points is night. I care about the 8 assists. He did such a good job crashing the paint, getting into those triggers and into those setups that the Heat want to get to, right? Erik Spoelstra made a point to shout him out after the game. Other players made a point to shout out Jaime after the game. And what we're seeing now with Herro and Powell back healthy is Erik Spoelstra has tweaked the rotation, not just the starting lineup, but also the rotation. And now we've got these lineups where Davion Mitchell is the first one to come out and Jaime comes in. And now we have these lineups with Jaime, Herro, and Powell. And I asked Herro about those lineups after the game, and he said it's great because we can all move on the ball and we can all move off the ball. And when Jaime has the ball, it's Herro and Powell kind of spacing the floor for him. And so now things get a little bit easier for Jaime, who's been one of your more productive players for the season. You want to empower your best players, right? I think NBA teams do a better job when they make their best players better, not when they make their worst players better. And I think what that lineup does, it does make Jaime better, right? Not only because it creates more space for him, but when now he's kicking out, Herro and Powell are really good at making shots. Newsflash. So that's why you see that assist total, I think, inflate a little bit to that 8 assists. I thought he was tremendous. I have no problem with him getting the credit cookies here. And I think the more we get to see some of those lineups, I think the more interesting it is. I am a little surprised that Herro isn't getting at least 1 credit cookie from you here. I mean, 23 points was really effective, I thought, in the first half in terms of his playmaking. I know he only finished with the 3 assists and the 4 turnovers, so he's upside down on that. I get it.
Yeah.
It was probably he was not great in that third quarter. So if you're, I guess, you reward him for the first half, you dock him for the third quarter. Maybe it's a net neutral, and that's why you end up with 0 cookies. Like he had a cookie and then you took it away from him. Is that sort of where you're going at?
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, just going 8 of 18 too, like it was not his best performance shooting wise. 2 of 8 from 3-point range. Had a couple shots I think he was open late in the game that he wasn't able to knock down. So not necessarily being penalized, just not given a cookie for. So again, a solid game. He gets the shout out, but he didn't have a strong enough performance to eclipse what the other 3 performers did. So to me, it was a solid game from Tyler, and I think he's still rounding into form, and he's had a great solid game. Like, you needed those 23 points. You just wish if he had hit a couple of those 3-pointers in addition to the 2 that he did, completely different story, right? Then he'd finish with the same 27 points that Norm did, and he would probably get just as many credit cookies.
Yeah,
Like,
so
that would have
that's
been a
why I
much
didn't
more
mind it.
difficult conversation.
There was one shot that I didn't like that he didn't take in the fourth quarter, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know you do. It's the one where he was wide open for a 3, passed it up, dribbled out of it, ended up, I thought was going to take a really bad contested 3, and I think he did actually. And then we got the offensive rebound, and maybe Bam ends up making the 3 on that possession. I have to look back at it. That was my one sort of bugaboo possession with him. I was like, Tyler, you did that thing again. Don't do that. I still think maybe you could take one away from Norm and maybe give it to Tyler. He was still really productive in a game where these points mattered. And I thought the playmaking was really important from him. I'm not going to push it too hard if you don't want to do it, though.
I won't. I'm sure Tyler will get his chance, though. So it's not a knock on him again.
He is playing catch-up, man. He's only got 10 credit cookies for the year because he missed 30 games. I don't know.
Well, that's what happens when you miss time.
I guess you could spare him one cookie. Norm Powell, by the way, far and away the leader right now in credit cookies. Far and away.
Good reason. He's been the season's best player.
One last thing on Jaime that I forgot to mention. The 4 3-pointers that he took, he goes over 4 like you mentioned. I don't care about that even a little bit. I love that he took 4 threes, right? When I talked about my New Year's resolutions, I said, Jaime, take more. You got to take more. And he did not hesitate on those threes. Not even after he missed the first 2, not even after he missed the first 3. He did not hesitate. I love that. Those probably are not going to go. He's not a good 3-point shooter. He was not close on a couple of those threes, but I like that he's taken them, right? It's the same thing. I don't want to play the results. I want to talk about the process. Just like Bam. It's nice that he goes 4 for 6 on threes in this game, but I love more that he didn't hesitate on those threes. That was more important to me than making them. And for Jaime, those shots, he'll have a game like Bam had tonight eventually from 3-point range. He needs to keep the confidence up. It might not happen this season, but he'll end up becoming a little bit better of a 3-point shooter, even if he never becomes a great one. Same goes for Bam, right? Coming up, we got some listener questions, including one, about Ja Morant. Plus, if this is the version of Bam that we're going to get, could the Heat make a little bit of a run here? We'll talk about all that next.
Today's episode is brought to you by ZocDoc. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. You want someone in network, nearby, with availability, but you also want a doctor who really listens, makes you feel comfortable, explains things clearly, and helps you walk out feeling confident about your next step. Your diamond in the rough doctor exists, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality, in-network doctors so you can choose someone that you truly connect with. You'll love that you can search for specialty or symptoms and quickly find the right fit. Being able to choose in-person or video visits makes scheduling way easier. And you can check the verified patient reviews to get a real sense of the doctor's vibe and their communication style. The real-time availability means you can book instantly. No playing phone tag with an assistant. Appointments usually happen within 24 to 72 hours, and they can even have same-day openings. If you needed to book care fast, this is the first place to go. It makes the process that simple. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA and find and instantly book a doctor that you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. We'll be right back.
Let's get to your listener questions on the text line. This one comes from Cameron, who writes in, Bam's making quick decisions with confidence. It makes him look like an entirely different player. We know at this point we can't expect a performance like that night to night. However, do you think an inspired Bam in a Heat culture style win can spark some life into this team heading into the All-Star break? We're still quite a ways away from the All-Star break, but my answer is yes. I think this was a much-needed win. I think it hit all the good notes, right? You went up 20 against a good team. You let them come back in the third quarter, and you rallied in the fourth quarter, and Bam hit some big buckets down the stretch. You did it with the new starting lineup, so you get the proof of concept part of it too. Bam shot his way out of the slump. Vibes are good all around. I think this can spark some life, if only because it felt like it couldn't get a whole lot worse for the Heat over this last year. I know that it literally was worse during like a 10-game losing streak earlier this season, but yeah, you hope that this is the sort of thing that they could build on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to say, oh, Bam is finally back or finally he's going to get it going and that's something you can build off. But the process was there. You keep pointing it out, and I think it's a good point. And I think that he was able to get better looks today. So you wonder how that's going to happen. Again, the fact that they were able to do this against a really good defensive team in Phoenix, there certainly bodes well. And you want to keep building, but I need to see it more consistently because we just went through this recently, whether or not Nikola Jovic was back, and then he winds up struggling again, and so he's kind of in and out. And Kel'el Ware's had his moments here and there. I think it's just going to happen with players, and I just need to see it more consistently. If you're going to look at a player who, again, I think has been mostly consistent, Norman Powell is it. Other than that, it's been hard to find anybody who's been really consistent. Jaime probably is the second most consistent player on this team. Other than that, it's been kind of a touch and go with everybody else. So
Rozier's been consistent.
if what's that?
Rozier
Yes, he has
gone. He's been consistent.
Yes,
it's been the
he
same thing the whole year.
I guess Davion. If you had to rank the top 3 most consistent players, it'd be Norm, Jaime, and Davion. Other than that,
yeah, I think Davion, his 3-point shot comes and goes. But like I said, I don't want to just. I don't want to play results. I don't want to just do a podcast and read box scores. For me, Dave, I'm with you. I think Davion has been consistent in his approach. On Pella Larson when he's healthy, I think is another guy that's been super consistent about how he approaches things. I will say this: the Heat do get up for some of these games, right? Like Boston on Thursday, the Heat have gotten up for the Celtics, right? Oklahoma City, they got up for that. Like they played a good first half against the Thunder on Sunday, despite how it ended. You got Golden State, Jimmy Butler, right? Like they're gonna get up for that game too. So and that starts a pretty tough road trip there, but. You hope this ends up being sort of a little bit of a jumping off point for this team. Cody writes in, this game really spotlights how important Jaime is in controlling the opposing defense. A number of late game moments came from overcommitting on his drives, which led to great kickouts and open shots, mostly to Bam. Should Miami feed more into that play style to generate open looks in the half court offense? Yeah, I think the answer here is simply yes, David. It kind of gets to what we were talking about before. When you've got Jaime, Tyler, and Norm, that is the way to not have a bottom 10 offense, right? Put your best 3 offensive players out there at the same time, see what happens. I think that's a feather in the cap for this starting lineup, right? With Tyler and Norm out there, and when you bring Jaime off the bench as that 6th man, you get those 3 in the game relatively early when Davion is the first sub out halfway through the first quarter. You get those guys out there. I think they can do some interesting things. I'd like to see it more.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a strong performance from him, and you'd like to see him be able to kind of control that second unit, be able to work with players. I'm curious to see how he can continue to work his way alongside starters and kind of blend everything he can. But the way he's continued to develop as a playmaker really does bode well on his lasting impact. So I think he's going to be continuing to get better as the season progresses, because we've already seen that evolution from him as a playmaker over the course of the season. I remember him talking to us on Media Day saying that he wanted to evolve in that regard. The 3-point shooting certainly, and the playmaking was certainly another aspect. And it's nice to see him take that leap.
Yeah, it's been great. William writes in, this is what Bam is supposed to be every night for the money he makes. Yep. Malik.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
The defense has been there. You need to see it offensively. We all agree around here. I mean, you got to see it. It doesn't have to be this way from 3-point range all the time. It doesn't even have to be 29 points every night. But it's got to be a lot closer to this than what it was. Malachi writes in, crazy question. Is Dillon Brooks one of the dirtiest players of all time? I can't wait to sink my teeth into this.
No.
Before I do, David, where are you at?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
More annoyance than anything else. Like certainly a little chippy here and there. Dirty. Like, I mean,
it's not dirty.
I don't want to go all
Brooks dirty.
That play against Wiggins was pretty dirty.
The kick out,
the kick out, and I don't know if you could see it as easily from the arena, but he also wrapped his arms around Wiggins' shoulder and pulled him down to the ground, and it could have hurt him. I think
on
he
the
raked
same
him
play
across the face as well. The same play, yeah. Not only that 3-point shoot, the shot in the corner there, yeah. It wasn't the kick out. It was the fact that it was an unnecessary play, because when he brought his arms down, that's why they called the flagrant one on him, is because he brought his arms down, kind of horse called him a little bit and took him down to the ground. So the effect was, I got fouled in the shot because this guy's clearly on top of me and look how physical he is. But it's like, oh yeah, he fell on you because you pulled him down in the first place. So is he dirty? Yeah, I think he's also mostly just annoying, and that's his game. And I don't particularly care for it. But I understand that you always have to have somebody like that on the roster to try and create a difference there. I think it's mostly just empty, but there have been far dirtier players throughout NBA history.
Who's the dirtiest player? Just give me a name.
You think Bill Lambier? I mean, it was
Yeah, that's the
something like
name
that.
that kind of pops, right? Is like this guy that was just literally just hitting you. And that's I think Draymond, having covered him, that's dirty. Like he'll hit you, right? He'll
Yeah,
hit you below the belt and above the belt. He'll hit you.
yeah.
To me, Dylan Brooks, he is more annoying. He does a dirty thing every once in a while. To me, he's more dirty. I do have to admit something though.
What's that?
I love Dylan Brooks, man.
Oh,
I know he was annoying tonight because he was playing the Miami Heat, but like, I love watching Dylan Brooks. It is such a treat. He is unlike any other player in the league. He's got like this role player, like the only reason I'm in the league is because I'm dirty and I got to do all these dirty things. But then at the same time, he'll think he's James Harden and go for a step back three on the next possession. You're like, what
yeah,
is this guy? He's just sort of like
yeah,
all over the gamut here. I love watching Dylan Brooks, and I do think he deserves a ton of credit for transforming the emotional atmosphere of that Phoenix Suns team. They have a toughness about them, and that comes from Dylan
yeah.
Brooks.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like his unwavering confidence, whether it's real or not,
Yes.
like that energy. It's like, you know what, that kind of
We
boosts
love
your like the
irrational
Suns team
confidence.
was
It's the motto here on Locked On Heat.
absolutely
Irrational
the
confidence is
Suns
the
were
best
supposed to
kind of
be a bad
confidence.
team. They were supposed to be bad. They were like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, they're plucky. They sure have some nice young players that they've added. The young players haven't even made the difference. They're mostly just getting it from Brooks and
Mhm.
Grayson Allen. Like, okay, here's
Mhm.
another tough question: who's a worse player, Grayson Allen or Dylan Brooks?
Who's a worse player or who's dirtier?
Not dirtier. You see, I don't. Again, who's
Like
more
what you were
annoying?
asking. Who's more annoying?
Who's
Okay,
more annoying?
Grayson
Who's more
Allen.
annoying?
Grayson
Yeah, I
Allen
think so too.
because he can't back it up as much as Dylan Brooks could back it up. Like Dylan Brooks is a legitimately good defender. Grayson Allen's got like that. Who's the politician that he looks like? The Ted Cruz, that Ted Cruz punchable Ted
Cruz,
Cruz
yeah.
face. Like
Yeah.
it's he's more annoying, and he's got the Duke thing. Yeah, dude. No, he went to Duke, dude. Like he's more annoying,
Forget
easily
it.
more annoying.
Yeah, good point.
I like Dylan Brooks. If he was in a Miami Heat uniform, he'd be a Heat legend. So I'm not here for Dylan Brooks slander. You could take me out in the comments if you want, but you know I'm right. Last one comes from Antonio. Not a question tied to the game, but if Miami lands Ja, what will the Heat do with Norm Powell and Tyler Herro? David, we might have to put a pin in this one. This feels like maybe a bigger conversation. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's a bad problem. It depends on what you have to give up to acquire John in the first place. But
It might not even end up being a problem. We'll put a pin in that, Kanish, for now. Thanks for tuning in to Locked On Heat. Make sure you tune in tomorrow when we have a little bit more of a longer conversation about Ja Morant. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Heat so you get all the latest episodes. Follow Locked On Heat on Instagram, TikTok, and X. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Heat ad-free, plus a members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonheat.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel on audio. Make sure you make your second listen Locked On NBA Game Night or Locked On NBA Daily.